Oh, that's it. I've had it with this dump. We got no food. We got no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off. Okay, just calm down.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. It's time to go outside the comic industry. We're going to talk about some, more irony than comic book related stuff. Normally, if I talk about stuff outside of comics, is normally where this is mostly a comic book channel. It's stuff I really care about. I will tell you right now, I don't really care about She-Ra, even though I'm going to be talking about it. I don't care about She-Ra and the Princess of Power. I'm not all that attached to the original She-Ra stuff, and I'm not in any way, shape, or form interested in the new live action She-Ra reboot that's coming to Amazon. But I do like irony. So we will talk about this She-Ra story because I enjoy the irony. The irony that all the fans of the 2018 She-Ra and the Princesses of Power series who absolutely took a crap on all the people that were upset that they basically veered away from all the source material and said, these aren't your characters anymore, are absolutely having a conniption fit over this Amazon live action reboot that appears to not be related to the 2018 cartoon. I'm also going to talk about a story, and I don't like people being trampled. So this story about Rich Johnston being trampled by a protesting group of anti-vaxxers is troubling, but I do want to talk about it because there's a couple things you can glean from there, and it feels like Rich Johnston, in the end, learned a valuable lesson, and hopefully you guys can learn from his mistake to not put yourself in harm's way. So first, we will talk about She-Ra and the outcry from the fans of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, the 2018 Netflix cartoon that basically took the original characters, shat on all the on all the original fans, and just decided to make what they wanted out of it. The fans of the 2018 cartoon feel like they've been getting the same treatment, and rather than just eating it like they wanted the original fans to do, they've decided to have their voice be heard and speak out about it, which I thought made you a man baby or some type of a crybaby. Stop talking about your about your youth or whatever. No one's destroying your childhood, Beck F. So the fans of the Netflix 2018 She-Ra series, She-Ra and the Princesses of Powers, are petitioning DreamWorks, Mattel, Netflix, and Amazon to cancel the recently announced live-action reboot of the 80s series out of concern for LGBT plus representation. When we talk about representation here, we use LGBTQIA plus, but apparently Beck F and the fans of She-Ra and the Princess of Power have decided that queer, intersex, and asexual representation is not important or worthy of inclusion in this petition. I disagree with that, but these are their words, not mine. Now, just to be completely upfront about that, there's almost no information about this actual live action series. We don't even really know what it's going to be, although it's supposed to be a reboot of the 80s original She-Ra stuff, which is, kind of spun out of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Obviously, I was a big He-Man and the Masters of the Universe fan. There's a recent cartoon that was actually pretty good. The one that's on right now from Kevin Smith, not as big a fan. But without any details, they've decided to have their voices be heard. I'm in favor of that. Sometimes I talk about rumors or things that haven't fully been fleshed out or even been released. So sometimes if you see the writing on the wall, you got to have your voice be heard. She-Ra fans, She-Ra and the Princess of Power fans have gone a different route. Normally I would come here to YouTube, have my voice be heard, or I would go on to Twitter and I'd make a dank meme and try to be funny about it. They are going to change.org. They are making a gosh darn petition. And so far, I believe they have 1,700 to 2,500 petitions or signatures on this digital online petition. And they are calling on the powers to be to cancel Amazon's live action She-Ra and create a She-Ra movie based on the 2018 animation. There you go. This has been created by user Beck F. I will not use any type of pronouns as I do not want to misgender or offend Beck F in the She-Ra and the Princesses of Power community, which apparently is very passionate about She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. This is what Beck F wrote in the petition on the what is it called again? Change.org petition. man, I need to start using these same things. I did not gender you. That was almost a mistake. Beck F. wrote, the issue behind this remake is that LGBT plus, that's offensive, community fought for years to be heard and seen in children's animation, only for all the hard work and perseverance conducted by Stevenson and fellow LGBT plus fans of the program to be stripped away by a live action that not only provides no closure to 2018 story, but continues to place the male gaze on heroic women by creating them as objects for male pleasure. Now, there's no details on the series. We don't know that it's going to be called She-Ra and the Power of the Male Gaze or anything like that. Is the show going to be just like some really stacked chick, with scantily clad armor, like for 30 minutes? I think a lot of people would probably watch that. I doubt that's actually what the show is going to be. As far as no closure to the 2018 story, hey, they canceled the damn thing. That's what happens. Sometimes you like a show and you don't get to see the end of the story because not enough people watched it. But there is no indication that they're trying to solve a problem that might not even exist. We don't know that this is just going to be there to continue to place the male gaze on heroic women by creating them as objects for male pleasure. It's not like Dynamite is producing this damn thing. It's Amazon, right? And then I love this line. Apparently, when you're a millennial, I can tell that this person is like, well, I guess millennials go up to like age 38 now. But I imagine this person, Beck F, is under the age of 30. I'm gonna predict it now. This is not okay. That is actually in the petition. This is not okay. I need to start using that. When Tom King destroys a character, I'm just going to, this is not okay, Tom King. Or when Jason Aaron decides to retread an old storyline, I'll be like, this is not okay, Jason Aaron. And then maybe they'll listen to me. But this is not okay. This is one of the dumbest lines of this whole activist generation. Explain yourself. Don't say this is not okay. And let other people determine if it is okay or not. The Becca F continues, although we are unsure what this live action will entail. Go figure. Well, you seem to be, you seem sure that it's going to entail the continuous placing of the male gaze on heroic women. It is apparent that DreamWorks does not have the best interest of the 2018 fan base in mind, as hashtag She-Ra movie has trended multiple times asking for a continuation. Well, is it really on DreamWorks? They're a private company. They can do what they want. Isn't that what we're always told? DreamWorks can do whatever they want. Kevin Smith and Netflix can go absolutely take a dump on He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and everyone's okay with it, but you go and you mess with this damn She-Ra and the Princesses of Power cartoon that didn't even continue. It got canceled early because apparently the fan base wasn't big enough. You got to get it up in arms and your voice has to be heard. What the hell? And is it DreamWorks' responsibility to have the best interest of the 2018 fan base in mind? That was a Netflix property anyway. And this is going to be on Amazon. I think they have to have Amazon's best interest in mind, and keeping up the subscriptions, maybe grow the subscriber base and provide entertainment that Amazon Prime viewers are going to want. Do we even know what percentage of the 2018 fan base even have Amazon Prime? Hell, there's only 1,700 signatures. That's not enough people to carry an entire live action show. It's a lot more expensive than a cartoon. Beck F continues, if you care about LGBT plus representation, you will cancel this live action in favor of an animated continuation of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. I will also say, not only is this person under 30, they are British because they spell favor wrong. They put a U in there. There's no U in favor. That's just an extra letter for no reason. Of course, if you're in England, I think they pronounce it aluminium instead of aluminum. This is the weirdest stuff over there. So we got this British person, Beck F, under the age of 30, thinks that DreamWorks need to put the 2018 fan base of She-Ra, the Princesses of Power, ahead of their own financial best interest. I don't think that's the way it works. And I don't believe that they're going to get a decision in their favor on this one. But I am in favor of Beck F and the fans doing this. Hey, it worked for the Snyder Cut. And according to Fatal J and his Fatal Takes, we're probably going to get the gorier cut as well. It looks like, according to Fatal J, he's got a little nugget that I think the restore of the Snyderverse is going to happen. Warner Brothers and HBO Max are going to just scrap their entire plans and go back to the Snyderverse, even though they said they wouldn't. because of all the outcry and the pressure, apparently from social media, according to Fatal J. That has not been confirmed. Who cares? I mean, I don't really care, but I do think it's funny because when they took the original She-Ra and destroyed it, and all the people that like that were like, "What the hell? You know, you're supposed to be rebooting this damn thing. We thought it was for us," and then all the fans of the new one were like, "Eat it, suckers! This ain't for you. These aren't your characters anymore. They're ours." And when it happens to them, they're like, "What the? Let's get a petition going. You don't have our best interest in mind." Well, it was funny when they didn't have the original fans of She-Ra's best interest in mind, but when the shoe's on the other foot, it's nothing to be laughed at anymore. I do like irony. I do enjoy this story. Will I be covering She-Ra in the live action show? Absolutely not. I don't really care, but I will cover more irony if I can, because I do enjoy stuff like this. Now, I'm not a big fan of Rich Johnston. I'm not a big fan of Bleeding Cool. Sometimes he gets some of his stuff right, normally with a little twist on it, so he can ensue maximum views or clicks on a lot of his clickbait articles. Apparently, according to Rich Johnston, recently he was trampled by anti-vaxxer protests. Now, I am not in favor of anyone being trampled. That sounds awful. I don't want anyone to get hurt. I'm not in favor of stuff like that. I'm not in favor of protesters striking out at onlookers or people that want to view the protest or even counter protests. I think their voices should be heard, their fists, their feet, or any type of weaponry should not be heard in a protest. That's no way to get your point across. I understand you could be very flummoxed, you could be upset, your emotions could be dialed up to the max. There's no reason to get physical with people. Now, Rich Johnston, he did put a video on TikTok and YouTube, which it's only 45 seconds, but you can see clearly, I guess, when he's riding his bike, he sees this protest going on. He decides to park his bike in front of the protesters who are clearly marching down the street. And he's not like right in the middle of it, but he's in the way of all the protesters. And he decides to put himself there, and he does actually antagonize them there. He does confirm the antagonizing in his little thing on his article. He doesn't confirm the fact where he decided to park his ass right in the middle, or right in front of the protesters who are walking straight towards him. This is not a good idea. If you see a group of protesters, whether you agree with them or you don't, it's best to let them do their thing, because you don't want to get hurt. There's no reason to get trampled over a political statement, right? Although there isn't any actual evidence that he did get trampled. There's this video, but there's no Coke on his shirt, what he alludes to. He's got no bruises on his face. I imagine if he got trampled and he had like boot marks on his back, that would have been the actual thumbnail, because Rich Johnston knows how to do clickbait. And that wasn't the thumbnail. So there's actually no proof that he got trampled other than his word. I'm going to take his word for it. Or, there was definitely, it sounds like there was some type of encounter. So this is what Rich Johnston had to say in his Bleeding Cool article. "I encountered an anti-vaxxer march through London." Hey, there are always protests in London. I remember this. I lived in England. I lived outside. I lived in Huntingdon. And I would drive down to Cockfosters, which is a trade station. Cockfosters, this is the name of the trade station. I would jump in there. I would take the tube down to London. I'd normally go to Piccadilly Circus, where they had all the outdoor entertainment people, and you can give them a coin, and they would act like a robot. Then I would go to, is it Camden Market? I think it's Camden Market, where they had all the food from every country in the world. There's a food stand, and it was delicious. I was just talking to my buddy Josh from BatmanNews.com, also a contributor to the channel, about that. If you ever go to London, go to Camden Market and enjoy some food from all over the globe. That place was great. But going through London, you'd always see these protesters. A lot of times they were anti-American protesters. I was a U.S. service member at the time, so you'd see them, and then you'd have to walk 18 goddamn blocks around, or you'd have to find a tube station and go around them, because you don't want to be involved in it. Do I want to make the news because I got rolled for having the wrong accent in front of the wrong protesters? So you definitely want to take care of yourself. Rich Johnston, I think he was in the moment, and he wasn't thinking about what he was doing. But he continues about this anti-vaxxer march in London. About 100 or so marching with megaphones, chanting that they were not to be silenced. Certainly not with megaphones like that at any road. I made a little video on my TikTok and YouTube as they marched along, pointing out to my phone that megaphones don't actually mean the speaker has any authority. It just sounds like they do. And that's true. He is absolutely, but he parks his bicycle and himself in the middle of the oncoming protest. So they would have to surround him and walk around him as he's recording himself for TikTok and YouTube and essentially antagonizing the protesters. You have, like, he doesn't exactly say you don't have no authority, but he's kind of talking smack on him. He's talking nice smack because he is a rotund British man. He's not like, he's not like tough or anything. But, if you are a fat British man in the middle of an anti-vaxxer protest, do not antagonize him because apparently bad things happen. And this is what he says. Not entirely a controversial point talking about what he was saying on his TikTok and YouTube, but it didn't go down so well amongst several who surrounded me, and I set off to cycle away. I was asked if I was vaccinated. There's no video evidence of this. We'll take his word for it. I replied that I was, and it was then that I was kicked and shoved from the side and behind, knocked on the ground while Coca-Cola was poured over me. There's no evidence of this. I guess he could have put a picture of his Coke-drenched shirt, I guess, but hey, he could have poured a Coke on it himself. That would have been, empirical evidence that this happened. So we'll have to take his word for it. There's no photos of the bruises. There's only a first-hand account in this after whatever happened on TikTok and YouTube. I really hope it was Coca-Cola, he continued. It would have been, it could have been diluted fizzy ivermectin. Of course. Still, it's good to know that the crowd was so in favor of free speech that mine had to be drowned out by boots and a soda pop. And I am absolutely not in favor of putting the boots to anybody, rolling anyone. If there is a rotund British man antagonizing you in the middle of your protest, I say walk around him, pay him no mind, let him make his TikTok video. But not everybody's me, and hopefully I imagine the viewers agree with me that there's no reason to go and throw a fat man on the ground and pour a soda pop on him. That's just mean. And we are a pro-friendly channel here. There's no reason to be mean to people. Anyway, I did eventually cycle away after some London police wanted to check I wasn't overly injured. And thankfully, the club I was heading to had a bathroom, and I had brought a change of top with me. So he changed his shirt. So how was your day, Ben? And then he gives some good life advice. This is what he has to say. Have you ever encountered any violent protest today? I would say if you see a violent protest, if you want to, see what's going on and see what's happening, stay back. Do not park your bike and yourself right in the middle of the oncoming protesters. Stay back at least 50 yards, give yourself some space. You can witness what's going on, but don't make yourself part of the story in a negative way, which is what it sounds like happened here. He also says, and this is good advice from Rich, well, if an anti-vaxxer march asks you if you've been vaccinated, remember my example, say it loud, say it proud, lie your head off, say, no, I bloody well have it, and run the other way. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with lying to save yourself a beating or a soda pop being poured on your shirt. And I absolutely, I do not endorse any of those behaviors. I think it's very, very wrong to roll a fat man in the middle of London and throw a soda pop on him just because he has a difference of opinion on vaccinations. In these very trying times, we know everyone's been dialed up to the max. Hopefully cooler heads will prevail. But you also, hopefully Rich Johnston has learned, and hopefully you learn from his example. Do not park yourself in the middle of an oncoming protest and then talk smack about them and kind of antagonize them on your TikTok and your YouTube. Perhaps some bad things will happen. Not that he was asking for it, but he certainly put himself in an unenviable position to where he was greatly outnumbered and probably was going to get a negative reaction the way he was talking right there. As I said, once again, we are a peaceful channel. I'm pro-peace. Do not go and beat up people because they have a different opinion with you. If you have a stance on vaccinations, and it disagrees with somebody else, whether you like them or not, there's no reason to go fisticuffs. There's no reason to put the boots to anybody. There's no reason to knock anybody over and throw a soda pop on them or anything. Be nice. We can have pleasant disagreements, and hopefully one day we'll get back to that soon. But it definitely appears that is not the time, unfortunately, and it makes me kind of sad. But that's the not comic news today. We've got the irony of the She-Ra fans saying, "What the hell? You can't do anything with our characters after they gloated about an entire generation of She-Ra fans having their characters taken away. And Rich Johnston is leading by example. He's shown you what not to do. Do not put yourself in the middle of a protest, especially if you're a dissenting point of view. Do not broadcast yourself on TikTok and YouTube, antagonizing the crowd, and stay at a safe distance. There's no reason to get beat up over a difference of opinion. And I wholeheartedly believe that.